Oh, how is everybody doing? Thought I'd brush my hair for you so that you wouldn't be like, oh my god. But I did just wake up. I actually made myself go back to sleep. I woke up like I normally do, really freaking early. Like really early. It was like 5:45, and I was like, "You're going back to sleep." So I made myself go back to sleep a couple times, and I finally laid there, and I got out of bed at like 8:20. It took a lot to make myself sleep. So, anywho's, how's everybody doing? I was spending a lot of time last night on the astrocartography, and I realized I needed to write some things down so that I could present it. So that our first, let me clear this up. So that our first session would be me explaining things to you and how to look for things. And then I learned that the chart changes once you move somewhere. And I was like, because, you know, it's more of sidereal stuff. So anywho, anyways, so I wanted to make sure that I had like at least enough to give you, which is why we're not even doing it this morning, because I'm old school and writing things down. And I was like, I need to send this out to them so that they can do this before we meet kind of thing. So I don't know. It's a little bit more involved. It's not, I don't want to make it seem like I'm trying to do the legwork for you, basically, is what I'm trying to say. I hope everybody's doing good too. Oh, are they actually coming on now this time? All right, we're going to do that. So I was just giving an update on the astrocartography and what I was doing last night with it. So basically there's about 3 different charts that we would look at. The astrolocation chart, your birth chart, and then there is a something location chart. Like there's another location chart once you move. So you kind of want to take a look at those types of things. And I was also doing like a cheat sheet of all the lines. So we will have the meeting, but I don't want to go into it with us going, And if I can find somebody that has done this and bring them in, then I will. And I know I look really rough, but I was like puffy this morning. And when I say I haven't had my coffee or anything else like that, I really haven't. So it's amazing. I can go in there and it's bright and it's like, I look in the mirror and it looks so different than when I come in here. I don't know why my camera does this or looks like this. I look like Casper, I look like Casper. And I'm like, okay, whatever. The one thing that somebody was talking about yesterday when I was looking, like researching and stuff, is that for astrocartography, well, first off, just the lines that are supposed to be really great does not mean that if you move there, things are going to be great. Like your Venus, your Jupiter, because you have to look at where Jupiter and Venus are in your house and what it aspects in your life, because that's what's going to be highlighted, right? So people just think, oh, Jupiter, oh, the thing of gifts. And it's like, it's not that simple. And then of course you have to look at what you want in your life at that time, you know, because certain areas are going to be great for certain things in your life, but not necessarily for your career. Or it might be something where it looks like it's great for your career, but because in your chart it conjuncts, say, Pluto or something like that. It means that it'll be very successful, but it's a long road. You know what I mean? And so it's kind of like you kind of have to look at these varying different things. And my goal is to empower people for their intuitive understanding of where it is that they want to go or what they want to do, and that we know intuitively. but to kind of mix that with the astrophotography to see. And then, of course, for some people, some of the places that might get lit up, you're like, oh, that's not feasible for me at this point in time to do. And so what you would do is you would then look at how your chart would change, where like you could actually pick locations and then see how the chart would look there for that particular location. And so everybody's need is going to be different in regards to that. But it's still something that I thought would be fun. And we're all going to learn together. Oh, I got to go get that for him. Rather than, where is my, let me just tell you. I never know where nothing is. Oh, I need to light my candle. I didn't really get much before coming on. Other than, you know that song, he's got to go to work, or it's a stupid song. But it's about someone having to go to work. And, you know, how the person would rather them stay home and blah, 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 and all that kind of stuff. But the only part they sang to me was the work part. And so I took that as a clue to be like, oh, you know, maybe we're going to talk about work. But we'll see, because you know how they do. You know how they do. We get to go on some things, and then they have tangents. So, give me 2 seconds. I have seemingly lost my clips for my hair. I don't know where they are. All right, fine. I don't know where they are. I don't know. All right, because that light's getting on my nerves. All right. Well, I was putting up all my decorations. I want y'all to see something before I get to go. Pulling cards. Take a look at this. I've had this since I was a little girl. And it kind of like sings. And there used to be a wooden Santa. Good fucking God. Look at that. Well, that's from where I was rubbing my eyes. See this? See this? It doesn't look like that in there. But I was rubbing my eye. I mean, at least the wrinkles are under control. Fuck me. I don't know, but that's just holy crap. I don't know what my problem is, guys. I don't know what my problem is, but y'all are just gonna have to bear with me. Okay? All right. So, what was I trying to say? Oh, I've decorated, by the way, and I've had it since I was like 5 years old, and it sings. And somewhere in my stuff is the Santa Claus. I was gonna re-glue it on. It's this old wooden Santa Claus, and he goes ups and down, and has a. It's gonna go slow because I didn't really do it. Like, it is so old. But back in the day, in the 80s, before half you motherfuckers was born, wooden things were the thing. Like, it was like a throwback to, like, how it must have been when Santa Claus was real and all that kind of stuff, you know, and how he made things out of wood and took it to all the kids and the whatever. So I've decorated. I can't figure out how to set up my camera so y'all can tell. I thought about getting like a big ass tree to go right here so you could see. We'll see. I have trees for every room in my house. Some of them are small, you know, like the little 4-foot trees and stuff. That goes in my kids' rooms, and I've got like trees to go. I've got little trees to go everywhere aside from my other trees. So, all right, guys, let's do this. I don't know if it's gonna be work. We will figure it out. Oh, I meant to light this again. Let's just see. I want to be one of those festive people, you know what I mean, when they're doing readings and stuff like that, but I don't have like the best locale. Where are we starting, Spirit? What are we going to do? Okay, so we're starting with Divine Doors. It's funny because in my head I was like, I'm like trying to suggest the Spirit, right? I'm like, we're going to do Golden Universal, right? Because that's like the typical, what's the typical one for like money and career that I pull first, but They're like divine doers. I'm like, okay, whatever you say. I am utterly somebody from the 80s. In fact, I lived the entire 80s because I was born in 1980. Look at that. Look at this hair. Look. What the fuck? I just be saying. But I just didn't feel like, I was like, I'm just going to go ahead and like do it. So this is what you get. Okay, I feel, why do I, huh. So put that one back. I'm going to tell you the one that they said to put back. It's the distance in a prayer flag. Like somebody wants you near, somebody doesn't want you leaving kind of thing, right? Somebody wants you with them. And this is like giving, I'm not, or I'm leaving, or I am, it's giving excitement. Like I am getting excited off. Nothing says excitement on this thing. Nothing says, but I'm getting excited. It would be like the energy, the way that I would liken this energy is how my son would feel if he got to finally move to New York City kind of thing. Like kind of excitement. Does that make sense? That's what it feels like. And then it's like a kiss and a prayer flag. I'll tell you what the kiss and a prayer flag, they're like, put it back. It's like, it's almost giving like, they really don't give a shit and they're not going to give any energy to anybody who doesn't want something for you. They're solely focusing on something else. Okay. And I love that because I fucking don't want to give. And I'm sick and tired of giving energy to that shit. I think people are beyond stopping for the sake of other motherfuckers so they can feel good. Okay. That it's, I wish of all wishes that you were here through sunlight and rain. I need you near. And it's like, why would we want to poo-poo on something that is meant to be very exciting? Why? People love to do that all the fucking time. They love to create such an energy so that you can't be as excited. So you feel guilty about being excited. So that you feel, you know what I mean? It's like, no. I remember this one time, this lady I called, she was like my other mom. She was like my best friend growing up, her mom. And I told her about wanting to go to Boston or up in that area. And she goes, why? And I was like, I will not ever talk to you again about it. And I fucking told her because I want to. And she was like she felt, I made it, I made the same face. I was like, don't project your bullshit because you don't like something on somebody else. It's like a person who wants to go and wear a certain color for their wedding. Like, why? Why would you do that? It's like, because I fucking want to, asshole. Like, people will just do that shit. And it's like, keep your fucking opinion in every shape and form to your goddamn self. And if you can't fucking keep it to yourself and project your nasty ass energy onto other people, then shut the fuck up. Don't ask questions. Don't. If you can't hold space, if you can't be supportive, shut the fuck up. It's like they ask just, it's like, what? How stupid do you gotta be? How stupid? How self-important do you think you really are to do that shit? Right? Anywho, so now that we got that out of the way, people like that do not deserve our time. And they deserve to be put on a shelf. Okay? So this is talking about your destiny. We've got the palmistry card here. And these are my frou-frou deck, but I always get something from it. Like, I don't like frou-frou decks. Like, there's so many. It's like, oh, you're so loved. I'm like, shut the fuck. Okay, you know what? I'm dealing with life here. Someone tell me, you're so loved. It does nothing to change my circumstances. Okay, great. Okay, let's move on. Like, I am not one of those frou-frou. Oh, like, I see so many readings out there where it's like, you're doing great. And it's like, actions speak louder than words. And if my spirit team feels like I'm doing so great, then they can make some shit fucking happen in my life. Otherwise, I don't need to hear the cheerleader bullshit. That's just me. That's just me. I don't want to hear all that stupid shit. You're not really telling me anything. Anywho's, so Fortune and Tarot Collective Destiny. Like, I feel like this is saying, when they're talking about collective destiny, which oh shit. I was gonna say something different, and they're like, so they are highlighting what I have said here recently. Those that I'm reading for are meant, and I've been saying this, they've been dropping this bomb for almost a year and a half, where, like, I feel like it was in March of 2022 when they said, hey, that's a little more than a year and a half, whatever. They're like, hey, what's for you is on the other side of going somewhere. And at first it was like, some people it was a trip, some people it was a move, that kind of stuff. And I feel like enough people probably have, either due to circumstances, because the world is shitty right now and people don't have finances, but also dismissed it. And so it's like, okay, you had the opportunity to discover places to go and explore and make decisions, but you poo-pooed that away. And now it's time to do a move. And people are moving quickly on a whim without a lot of preparation. Just gonna be honest with you, okay? So there's a bit of that. Like, there's some type of destiny in the collective that's happening. But the other thing is they're showing me like receiving in multiple manners and methods the same message, right? Like palmistry saying the same thing as the tarot cards, as the readings that you hear, as the TED Talks, it's like almost like things are echoing one another, right? And echoing what you believe to be true. It's like it's trying to help you see and understand this is your destiny. Like, it is the synchronicities. It's synchronicity right now. And it's telling you to listen to your intuition. Like, all forms and methods of divination or ways of receiving messages is trying to tell you it's time to follow your destiny. Listen to your intuition. And then we have bless this space. Your sacred space holds the soul to bear. Palo Santo or sage will clear the air. And I'm feeling like a clear, clean space for you. And what I would like to say is, as you're in this transition, you need to be cleansing. You need to make sure that you're not just creating a space for yourself, but like spending time in what feels like a clean, clear space. I don't care if it's something in your house or somewhere in nature or some spot that you feel is clear and void of old energies, okay? But this is also about, I feel like, clearing your life of energies. And I think this has everything to do with going somewhere different, a new space, finding a blessed space. And then this came from yesterday, draw down the moon. And this is where you saw my eyes furrow and I was trying to think. And it's kind of like forest nymphs dance in sheer delight, singing soft songs, find us in the wild. Good night. Find us in the wild. There's something with that. Find us in the wild. Okay, so it's giving like, it's a little slow. I understand. I did just wake up. I haven't had my coffee yet. Come on, okay? But it's okay. Coffee and tarot is not meant to be fast-paced. Alrighty, alrighty. Find us in the wild. So it's like it reminds me of allowing the wild within, like your unencumbered, true, genuine self type of thing, like the divine wild aspects within, the wild feminine, like when she craves something, there's a lack of inhibition towards it. um I don't know. I would liken it to like intuitive eating. You know how like some women are like men can just eat what they want when they know what they and they just eat intuitively instead of like thinking, oh, I have to do like this and I have to do it like that and da da da. Da. They don't question themselves. It's kind of like that. It's like this intuitive craving is what I want to say. It's find us in the wild. And so that it gives me a little bit of like the place you normally wouldn't go. The place that you would choose out of just like, ooh, that feels good without reason and logic. Does that make sense? So I'm gonna pull some cards because I'm like, that feels I mean, it has an odd feeling to it. And maybe it's just because that feels weird to you to do. It's like somebody taking a map and going, Because at first I wanted to go, oh, the wild, nature, sacred space. And it was like, no, no. And I'm like, okay. It's finding the place where you feel unencumbered and free. It is giving, like in Ireland or Ireland, Scotland, or they have all those like those rock formations and like women dancing at night naked in the open air kind of thing. It's like it's giving that type of energy. It's a very unencumbered where your spirit and your soul feels free. Okay, so see, sometimes when we have too many oracle in the beginning, it just feels like I'm hanging on to the cliff notes. I'm hanging on for the answer of what's going to happen. Only question left is how do you make that move? You know what? Kind of how you did with this last move. Right? So like the idea of God, it's like I rubbed my eye too much. It looks so sad. When you finally made the move, there wasn't a lot of forethought. It just happened. It's like, ooh, I feel like you questioned everything else so much. And when this one showed up, it was like, okay. The space showed up, everything. It just, It was fairly quick too, from when you found it, decided you wanted to, and you did. All right. We're just gonna go around in circles, okay, until we find our spot. Because this is like, I feel like it feels very hodgepodgey. Like I'm bringing in a bunch of different messages, and at some point it'll fucking make sense. It'll all seem cohesive. But right now, to me, it doesn't feel cohesive. Okay, just saying. We've got true love and fidelity. You ever felt in love with where you were in life, where you lived, your home space, the places that you would naturally go to spend time, being in love with the local coffee shop, being in love with the people, the community, like all those kinds of things. And fidelity is when it is reciprocated, when it is true and supportive and integral. Like it's just, then we have, again, we keep having the theme of nature coming up. And this may be something where part of the decision that somebody's going to make and where they go is going to have to do with like the natural, I'm in somebody's energy and it feels thick and dense and slow. I'm realizing this is not me. because I'm trying to move fast in the way that I'm speaking, and it just keeps slowing me down. I'm like, oh my fucking God. Stop it. Okay. The forces of nature favor you. There's something about, okay. I'm the kind of person, I need water. And I have said, I want to live somewhere where I can have the ocean on one side, like I could have the ocean nearby, but also like mountainous, foresty area close by as well. And I used to think the only place that was really like that was Pacific Northwest, like Oregon, Washington area, even like Northern California area, in the United States. And then I went and I kept feeling drawn to Boston. I kept feeling drawn to the areas up there, Massachusetts, that kind of stuff. I went there and I was like, oh my God, you literally are this close to the ocean, but the Appalachian Mountains are like right there. Within a 20-minute drive, I'm in the mountains. Because I was like, I need creeks. I need this. I need that. I want both. I don't want to give up either one. And water is a massive part. You see how nature plays a factor, and there's something very specific about that. I know somebody else who loves, like we talked about this the other day. Like I posted some pictures of Nevada. I even threw one in there of Arizona because it reminded me of the area of Nevada, like where it was like deserty. Like some people feel very drawn to that. Like there's something in nature that speaks to you that will be a factor in where you choose to live. I have Paula, the one that I've brought on before. She loves the Mediterranean Sea and that area, and like the Greek islands, some of the less inhabited ones. Like like that is her place. There's just something about the land, the nature. And of course, I know that we just got talking about astrocartography, but I feel like there's some feature of the natural resources that will be around you that play a factor into determining. It's coming up way too frequently. And it might that might have a bit of that synchronicity we're talking about. You may be receiving messages. You may be seeing, let me give you an example, guys. Again, I'm nowhere near being able to move to Boston or anything else like that. And in fact, it may change. That may have been a place that I was drawn to for like 4 or 5 years because that would have been beneficial to me at that time. But who knows? By the time I get around to moving, there may be another place that calls to me. I don't know if I ever get around to moving. You know, I have children. I'm a little anchored. But like the idea was like, I remember feeling like I wanted to go to Boston. I wanted to at least visit, to satiate that desire. And it's not even Boston. It's more like the areas around it. There was something just about the area versus the city itself. And I remember pulling, like I'm in Podunk Town, Kentucky. Okay, guys. And I pull into a parking lot. And I swear to God, on the back side of someone's vehicle, all the way down here, it says Boston Strong. And I was like, what the fuck? They were far, far from home. I was like, okay. Within hours that evening, I'm driving down one of the areas, like our downtown towards a particular part. And I saw a billboard for flying, and it was a plane. And my son's with me, and I'm like, what the? And I swear to you, it said travel to Boston. Now, why would you pick some podunk town in Kentucky? Like, who should we advertise to about flying to Boston? You know what I mean? And I think it was more the airline, but they chose Boston. And I was like, of all the places, like, to think that you should market. Because, yeah, you're going to get a lot of business here. Like, what? In my hometown, like, it was like back to back to back to back. Okay? And then, like, the next thing was, like, my friend brings out, she goes, oh my God, I have a candle from Salem, which is right next to, near Boston. And she's like, oh, I forgot I had this. Let's burn it, kind of thing. And I'm like, what are you trying to tell me, Spirit? Like the most random, would never have guessed ways. And these are like very unique ways too, right? Because I'm telling you, driven that road a million times, that billboard was never there. And it's not even a huge one. I was like, what was the purpose of putting it here? I don't understand. I feel like that was a big marketing flaw for them. Okay, I'm going on a tangent for a reason. I feel like somebody is getting and will be getting signs. Now, I know not everybody's moving, but the fact that I started off with astrocartography and we were going to chit chat today a little bit about it, and it's not, so apparently Spirit's like, well, we're still going to touch on some things. Okay. Funny thing is that the beginning of this, though, I had that song, work, 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 work. And so I'm going to make the assumption that there's a possibility that work may play a factor in either the drive, reason, or anything else like that. So if you're getting signs about something, about being somewhere, going somewhere, and then somehow you hear about a job, I want you to know you were being, it's almost as if like you're being needed. Okay. Like Spirit's like, I'm going to prep you, bitch. I'm going to prep you. I'm going to drop little messages, little things. And so when it's going to feel like, what the fuck? But also on this, forces of nature favor you. Like if you feel like there's like, you don't see how something could happen. I want to say that things are just going to feel like magically evolve. And I think this is an answer, in all honesty, to Kelsey's. Like, how do we move? Kind of like before, where things just fall in your lap. It just happens. Right? Okay. And then on this side, we have good fortune and friendship. I think this is what Spirit is trying to get you to. This feels like somebody is like somebody. This feels like Spirit is trying to lead you to where you have this support network, this community, this big opportunity. Okay. Sorry, I'm slurping my coffee. And when you pick up on these synchronicities and you're like, what? I think it's like confirmation. It's affirmation of things that you feel drawn to anyways. Let's get into tarot because I feel like I feel like there's way more they're trying to say. And I'm like, okay, what is the point of saying this right now? I know we said we were talking about astrocartography. Okay, we're going to pull this and everything was like that. It just doesn't make any sense though. I'm like, why are you bringing this up right now is what I want to say. And don't be surprised for some of you all if where you're at is just a layover to the next. Like sometimes it's just a stepping stone to where you're going to end up, okay? That's coming through for a reason. So understand that sometimes we just go somewhere to get us out of this space before. Okay. Guys, I ain't never had this happen. And I don't want anybody to get panicked. Because the funny thing is, it doesn't feel panicked. But this is massive. I've never had this happen. At the exact fucking same time, these two cards come out together. It's upheaval and upheaval. Two different numbers, two different areas of the deck come out simultaneously together. Forces of nature favor you, good fortune, and friendship. Please remember this. I knew there was, okay. Oh, Lordy. Wow. So the first card that came out was command. Okay. And this feels more like Spirit asking you to claim something. And it's funny because they brought up somebody that's in our group that hasn't really been able to spend a lot of time with us, but is still ever present. Okay. Who at times can believe something unwaveringly. And it's like, nobody or nothing tell them otherwise. Anybody who is aware of Peter, when he gets his mindset on something or he believes something, it is fucking so. You cannot talk him out of it. You cannot tell him differently. Like, he has just a staunch, when he's in that energy. And it has a level of like the card where it's kind of like, by your own command, you bring yourself here. It is the idea of not claiming something as if you're like, oh, yes, I'd like that. It is a speaking to the universe, and it is so. It is saying, nope, this is going to happen. And, oh, how do you know how? Because it's going to happen. There's a level of stepping into that energy, of needing to step into that energy of, it's not command as if you are forcing, like some dictator commanding people to do something against their will. Command is speaking something into existence to a universe that is willing and complicit. That's what I want to say. So it's an energy shift and change. I feel as if this is like back-to-back upheaval is what they're trying to say. That's what they're trying to insinuate. That there has been like a level of life feeling uprooted, upended, that type of thing. Feeling a certain way. And it's like, it feels purposeful, intentional, as in it places somebody firmly in command. It requires somebody to step into some level of leadership in their life, like enough is enough type of energy. And I wanted to know, I was like, explain command to me. And this is why I get it, because there's a new chapter and restraint. Somebody has been holding back a bit, withheld, reserved, restrained in regards to starting a new chapter. And I feel as if somehow, some level of, I just heard ready or not. If you feel as if you've had some level of upheaval in your life before, or that you've been dealing with stuff like that, it's been a preparation to just take charge. But I also feel like there may be some things that start to develop or unfold exceptionally rapidly to the point that it feels like an upheaval, like you're being uprooted. That forces you to kind of like make decisions, take command, take control, instead of being restrained. I do also feel like somebody has felt like they were on a short leash. We've talked about this. Not able to do certain things. But that restraint was to push you into taking leadership in your own life. Somebody was what I would call pussyfooting around, kind of a thing. And it's like when you get put on short leash and you get so fucking frustrated, you're like, I'm done. It's just, it's enough is enough type of energy. Something is forcing somebody to take command of a situation. It's that level of this is happening. I'm getting a couple of things, and I don't usually predict. I mean, I can. They give me things sometimes, but I'm really big on not sharing some of those things because I don't want to fearmonger, right? And I think some readers are really good at presenting something like, oh, something like this might be able to happen, and they do it in such a way that doesn't feel. But I'm a very matter-of-fact person, so sometimes when I say something, I feel like it might be. I feel like there might, it might come across a certain way, sound dramatic. And I don't like sound dramatic because I'm not a soap opera person, okay? And so for this feels like something maybe out of your control happens, or something. We've been talking about natural forces, like nature. Like they literally just gave me something like there may be some level of natural disaster that happens. Now, natural disaster can be on a million different scales, right? So I'm not saying like some massive thing that happens, is going to be devastating to so many people. To me, even like a natural disaster, it could be like a storm that's so great that it creates a massive leak and like a roof caves in kind of thing. I'm not getting the sense that anybody is like, they're not telling me somebody becomes harmed from this. It's almost as if like a natural occurring event forces somebody to move. That came out of nowhere. I literally just got it when I was looking at this, and I was like, oh, what? I was like, okay. So, because they're also giving me like something as simple as like a water main pipe busting. Now, if you're gone from the house and that thing gets to go for 3 or 4 hours, it will ruin things, especially if it's like somewhere at the second level. And it can, to the point where it's unlivable. Like that's what they were showing me. Like something forces somebody's hand, but it works in somebody's favor. And somebody is meant to respond with this intuitively and just kind of like go with what feels right. Somebody is going to have to step into making decisions very quickly, taking command. And if it's going to be like, oh, what are you going to do? And it's like, it's just going to work. It's just going to have to work. It's just this. It's like how is that going to happen? Like, it just is. Like, there's no other choice. It's as if somebody's hand is being forced. It feels like you are being forced to step into something. And I feel like somebody is like willing to step into it. Like, all right, then fine. Somebody's been restrained for so long in this new chapter that, again, one of two things. You are so ready to step into this role that when it happens, you're like, I feel like somebody just does it so well. Or you've waited for so long. Like it's like the proverbial boot to the ass is what it feels like to me. Okay. And this may be like the double upheaval. Like an upheaval all around. This could be shit. Not only do I have to move out of where I'm at, or no, not only do I have to do this, but I also got to do that. Like it may impact multiple areas. So let's say you're like, oh, I'm trying to stay in the same city, but because this happened and I have to move out really quickly, I can't even move. There's nothing available in my city. I have to move towns too. Like I have to, like, you know what I mean? It's like back to back. It feels like back to back, or just multiple areas where this one thing might create an upheaval. But again, it's like this uprooting. It's going to change many things, right? And we have these two cards, and I know this honesty is going to be like, we have honesty and recuperation. And for whatever reason, it feels as if true recuperation can happen after this upheaval. Now, for those where let's pull out, so we can make this a little more broad for people who are not going to be forced to move per se. But we have a new chapter beginning, one that has felt restrained. And I feel like there is a taking control, taking command of a situation. And in such, it creates upheaval. Maybe this is an upheaval for you and for somebody else as a result, because we do have that motherfucker over here. It's like, oh, I want you to stay here. It could be that. Something happens in your life that invariably will create upheaval for other people as well. But I want to reiterate, the upheaval in this situation is a positive one, and it can feel like things are being uprooted and things like it's like upheaval just is like a kick up of dust, a kick up of energy and chaos. Like like things are not peaceful and quiet and serene and easygoing. It's like there's something that it gets things riled up and go, like you have like a lot happening at once, right? It changes a lot of things at once. And this may be, I want to know about this honesty. There's something there. Secret Tarot. I don't feel it. I'm messing up cards. I'm trying to find somewhere to shuffle this shit. Please tell me about the honesty. I'm waiting for the moment where it all makes sense. I just feel like the honesty is sharing something you haven't before. We have the Judgment card with the Death card. I feel like coming out with it. Somebody's just going to come out with it. And if something happens, somebody is sick and tired of being held back on this new chapter. They felt restrained. They're going to take command. They're going to do something that creates a bit upheaval in their life, and it's going to create upheaval for somebody else. And they're just going to have to be honest with them. They're going to have to tell them about it. They're going to have to express and let somebody know their decision on something. The Judgment card. Somebody is making a decision on something, and it's going to create some level of ending and new beginning. Tell me about the recuperation. It's as if somebody's like, I'm having to make this decision for myself. I have to do this in order to, because we have the Page of Cups, which is giving me similar to the Ace of Cups energy, right? Like, this is like the beginning of a self-love journey type of thing. And the Two of Wands, like somebody making choices and decisions and movements for the self. It's almost as if something happens in somebody's life and their hand is forced to start this chapter, this new chapter. And they know, and that's what it is. You have been withholding from starting this or making a decision or choosing something or doing anything about this new chapter because it would impact other people, because it would create upheaval. And now Spirit is putting you in a position where you are going to be forced to step into that role and you're going to be forced to make that decision. And you've been afraid or didn't want to do it because it impacted other people. And you were like, I don't know how I'm going to say it. How do I bring it up? How do I whatever? And you're going to be forced. I'm surprised the Tower is not out here. But it's a forced in a way where it's not detrimental. It's almost like it's not out of vengeance. It's not out of like it's not like Spirit punishing you or being fed up with you. It's almost like Spirit giving you an out. It's like something happens, you've been held back from this new start. Either because of a person or because you're afraid to tell this person, you're afraid to be honest. Like you really want something. You really know, somebody knows that their new start is somewhere different or with something different. And they finally are like, look, this is the deal. I'm making a decision. I'm making the decision. But I feel like somebody, like the idea of something happens to allow you to make this decision. It almost like it takes the target off of you. I'm going to go very simplistic. It's like somebody reaching out and giving you a job at another town. And you're like, fuck yes. Like you didn't necessarily do it. Like, and you can go, you know what? I have to do this. It gives you the ability to do it. It's a moment of you're going to have to step in to command. It's beyond, it's like, oh, I claim that it is the doing, it is the making it so, it is and it creates upheaval for you, for somebody else, and you're going to have to tell them the truth. Because you're having to make this decision for you. Page of Cups. I'm doing this for myself. I'm making this decision for me, and I know that it impacts you, but I don't have a choice. Like the scenario where like somebody has to move out and you're forced to move to a different area or location because you're like, I can't do anything as a result of this. I'd love not to leave you behind, or I'd love not to whatever. Somebody, I don't know why I'm getting this. Somebody could have planned for something. Like, this is like the idea of like, even it could be like somebody who thought you'd always just be around, you know? And so like they always saw into the future where you would be. This could be friends. This could be family members. This could be a fucking job. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and it just works out for you. Tell me about, okay, sorry. Tell me about, yeah. Bless this space. How does all of this Whoa. We have the Hermit, choosing to do things for yourself, making a decision with your intuition and knowing first and foremost. And then we have the High Priestess, which is again double the following your intuition, following your knowing, going in your direction of your destiny. Then we have the Emperor, taking control, taking the lead in command. And then over here we have Grief and the Moon. You're gonna you have hesitated to do this because it created fear within you. That's somebody here really was stopping themselves from starting some new chapter because you knew that when you did, it would create some level of upheaval. You weren't sure if you wanted to deal with the upheaval because it would create upheaval for somebody else, or somebody else would try to like doubly make it worse. Like it's already hard enough to make this decision. Somebody else would try to make it worse. And so you were trying to avoid the upheaval like that they might create. Somehow you and it's like you were gently being, I don't know, it's not so gentle. You're being pushed to do this. We have the Three of Swords with the Moon. I feel like you feared this separation. You feared this grief. You feared what could come as a result of it. So let's talk about that. We really didn't want to talk about this. You're meant to, here's the deal. You're not meant to give too much consideration to this. So, when you had to make the decision on your own and just do it and face whatever consequences, like all you could do is build up how much this person would do or what would happen and how they would blame you and how you'd be the reason for X, Y, and Z. And like, I just feel like letting somebody down and the guilt trips and the whatever. And it's like, what kind of chaos would they stop me? Would they do this, that, and the other? It's like, you just built it up. You don't have time to think of those things. If something happens to force your hand, you don't have time to fear that. You don't have time to worry about other people's emotions and how it impacts them. Like there is it feels like an opportunity to do something where all of those other factors are removed. You're forced into a situation or a circumstance where you have to do something. You've got to choose something. You've got to choose for yourself. And it feels like I am being liberated from this sense of guilt or like the idea that I don't have to consider somebody else's emotions or feelings about it. That in doing so, that has stopped me before. That has hindered me, and that has hindered my new chapter. And no amount of spirit telling you have so much good coming from this, and the forces of nature favor you, and all kinds of stuff. Like, I don't care how much spirit built you up and told you everything's going to go fine. Walking head first into something, taking command, and knowing what you're going to face was hard as fuck. And you built it up in your mind. You built it up in your whatever. And it was pulling you back. There was a leash. That was that leash, short leash. And you weren't taking the chances. You weren't taking command. But something happens where you choose this ending because it makes it easy. See, these people answer the call because spirit calls first, right? The angel blows their horn and then they rise up to the occasion. There's something that happens that spirit is going to initiate first that allows you to go, this is my moment. And funny enough, it's almost as if You have no choice but to make a decision because something ends. Spirit could take a job away from you. And you're like, oh my God. Literally the only job I have is like that's an option is 500 miles away. I don't know what that is in kilometers and stuff like that for all of you all. Like it's one of those things where it's like, oh my God. Like you were afraid to move, you were afraid to go, you're afraid to whatever. And it's like you have no choice now. You have no choice. But it's like it feels really good. It feels like the time spent worrying, it's almost as if like you can like you approach this where it's like it's out of my control. I have to do this. And so you don't feel a sense of guilt for any grief or separation or any and you don't have you face this because you're like, look, I don't know why I want to be like it's not my fault. Like it takes the responsibility off of you. Maybe it removes the ability for somebody else to try and leverage and manipulate your emotions. And something about you're forced to be like, look, I need you, and I don't know what it is. It's like it's forcing you to come clean about something that you stayed quiet about. It just feels that way. Somebody has to be honest with somebody. But the thing is, once you tell somebody, like you have to reveal this. Like it's one of those things where it doesn't stay hidden. It's not something that would stay hidden. You know? It's like having met somebody out somewhere and you had a drink or a conversation with them and you're like, oh, we have this job and blah, 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 blah kind of thing. And it's like, you'd love to be like, hey, I'd love to move here. And maybe your partner would be like, oh no. Or maybe your parent would poo-poo on it and be like, well, we can't help you if you're out that way and all kinds of stuff. Or, or maybe somebody's like, oh, you mean you won't be here to help me anymore? And I don't know what I'm gonna do, and that kind of stuff, right? And so it just kept you in this locked position, right? But so it would stop you from applying, right? Like you'd think of all those things and you're like, oh my God. But what if the person just called you? What if they just called you like, oh my God, that was a great conversation. I'd love for you to like, I want to offer you this. But I gotta be honest with you, it's like I can hold the job for you for like maybe like a week, but like I need an answer. And it would be so stupid of you to say no. You didn't initiate it, you didn't start it, you didn't go through like, you know what I mean? But it's like it presents to you and you're like, it puts you in a position of feeling like I need to take command. It just does that. And there's a level of honesty. And I gotta be honest with you, I feel like this recuperation is both you and somebody else. I didn't want this to be about somebody else, but apparently what they wanted me to do is put that away. Like, do not consider what anybody else would have to say. If they're like, no, 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 I want you here. No, like somebody doesn't want this for you because they can only see how it impacts them. And this is a moment to make a decision for you. And in some level, you feared being honest with this person before. I don't think this is you're going to have to trust yourself, go with your intuition. They don't want anybody else's emotions considered. They want what's that raw response? Dance in the wild. Consequences be damned. What is your initial raw response to something? What is the thing that would make you just ecstatic? That was the emotion I felt in the beginning. Like there's like if my son had got to move to New York, could you imagine my son having an opportunity and him feeling like, oh my gosh, I'm just leaving my mom so quickly, like, because he would think that, he would think about that, and he would kind of like stop himself, or before he didn't just move to New York because he's like, I don't have a job, I don't know how I'm gonna, and something works out where he got to go. Could you imagine like holding yourself back from something like that? It'd be pretty fucked up of the other person to stop this. It's taking you to a blessed space. It is cleaning and clearing the air. Whatever this does, you find a sacred space. I want to know about the, thank you, now I get to do it. Look at this shit. Look at this shit. I just gotta say, like, if this person is a family member or a good friend or anything else like that, can I just say, certainly wouldn't be very loving of them to expect you to give up on something because of them, because of how, you know what I mean? It's like, I don't know, to hold something against you that's beyond your control. It just feels like that's not very, and wherever it takes you, I feel like you get to experience and feel real love. You're gonna love it, and there's so much good fortune and friendship to be had. I want to know about the where do I want to start? Oop. Well, that came out. 9 of Swords. I guess they know where to start. They're doing this to position you in a positive mental state. Your level of worry and concern, and the time you have to experience that worry and concern and to contemplate it and to think about it and to mull it over, is what is acting against your best interest. Your level of anxiety about other people and how this will play out and what type of upheaval. I feel like this kind of like pulls the rug out from underneath somebody so they can't sabotage it for you. But likewise, because you almost give them the leverage to do so, it's like you're sabotaging it too in a way. And so it's one of those things where it's like your anxiety is deceiving you. Your worries and concerns about what ifs, how it could go out, those are more dramatic, and they're deceiving you. Because I was going to ask them about the forces of nature. The forces of nature favor you. Again, Spirit's been telling you things would work out so well. But you're so fearful of either what somebody else can inflict or what this upheaval will cause and what somebody else will do. There's somebody else. But I want to tell you right now, they can't do shit. Something's going to work out in a way. It takes the wind out of their sails. So Spirit just said, takes the wind out of their sails. Because this worry, this concern, so it's almost like, I feel like this is a person who, when shit hits the fan, you do well. You step up to the plate. You take command. You're making moves and you're doing it, right? You're the kind of person, after the fact, you might crumble. After the fact, you unravel, right? When it's calm, and there's something about the added pressure where you step up into leadership role. You're probably the person in the family that when shit hits the fan, like if somebody dies, you step up and you take care of, X, Y, and Z. When I just feel like you're the one. that manages the crisis. And that might lead you to be in the energy of not liking the energy of crisis. Like, I don't want to do a crisis anymore. I don't like that. And so you fear it all the time. You fear doing any one thing might cause some level of crisis, upheaval. You're sick and tired of upheaval. And it's funny because you assume that every upheaval, we said this in the beginning, is negative. So that's why you play out all the different ways that somebody could sabotage and do this and do that, because you've experienced a lot of that. And Spirit's like, there's ways to have upheaval and change and it be an amazing experience where you not only rise to the occasion, but you don't have any of those negative ramifications, and it all ends up being an exceptionally positive experience and brings in positive things at the end. That's the true definition of a positive tower moment. So you may be the person that's like doing everything you can in life to avoid negative ramifications, upheavals, having to get into any kind of conflict because you've done it and managed it so much in your life and for other people that you're like, I'm done. And that has you hesitating on this new chapter because there's no way some motherfucker over here, some motherfucker doesn't want it to happen. And you just know. But what happens if Spirit takes the wind out of their sails? What if it happens in such a way where you are favored, forces of nature favor you, where it's only like, it's almost like if a situation was set up to where it would be like, this would be stupid of you not to go this direction. Like, like when the argument is removed from the other party, their ability to tamper with or intervene or anything else like that, they become the bad guy, and everybody would be able to see it. Everybody would be able to see it. There's something that takes the wind out of their sails. You have been fearing this. You think somebody else would sabotage it. What they would do. This could be an ex. This could be a family member. Like, you know what I mean? Is this truly going to happen? Oh. There's something also about in this capacity as the hermit, this is what puts you in the leadership role, because of this, it's like it focuses you one step at a time, going the direction that I need to go. Something happens, pushes you into this energy, and you've got to focus, follow through, and go. You can't pay attention to all the distractions. It puts you in I just feel like you naturally step into it when energies happen like this. When something like this happens, you instinctively step into. You know what I mean? Because the hermit doesn't pay attention to all the distractions around him because he can't see it. He is so solely focused. Which is why people liked you stepping into this role when things happen, because you would get shit done. You could see, do, and you would only focus on that. But you get to do it for you this time. And you get to follow what you want and desire, your intuition, your knowing. And how does this play into, is this going to be a move? Is this going to be... Why are you all acting a donkey? This is going to force you into this new chapter. It's going to force you to give birth. It's going to force you to give birth. Lord of mercy. We have the hermit with the empress. I feel like spirits, like, it's kind of like when you're pregnant and you go beyond your due date, and at some point it becomes detrimental. Some toxic shit is about to happen. Like, you're this is not good. Like, this is not good. This is going to become, I mean, a baby at some point becomes so big that a mother can't birth of them. I should know. I had that happen. I didn't even get to make it to full term because they took a look and they're like, oh my God, he's 9 pounds, 6 ounces. You still have 2 weeks to go. This boy gonna end up being close to 12 pounds. We need to take him. Well, he was 9 pounds at the time, and he was born 9 pounds, 6 ounces. Like, he was growing rapidly. Rapidly. And it's kind of like, and you see how, I don't know why they're showing me this. Like, the hermit is facing away from the giving the birth. And it's keeping, the middle card is the Five of Pentacles. It's keeping you in this state. This lack, this something not coming forward. So something forces, but in a way that makes it so easy. It's as if it makes the choosing of it easier, and because you're not paying attention, you don't give a shit about what other people want or desire. Like, you're almost forced in a way to make a decision for yourself. You're going to be put in a place. And the page, sometimes it can represent something coming in, and maybe you're meant to take action towards this thing. Because on the other side of the Five of Pentacles, this lack, because you're not giving birth to something, you're not letting this new chapter start, you're not initiating it. On the other side of this is this new beginning that is worth celebrating. You notice how it's no longer hermit mode. On the other side of this is good fortune and friendship. This new start brings about good fortune and friendship. Spirit's been telling you the forces of nature favor you. Something's about to give birth. This new chapter is going to start, and I'm just going to say that there's some event or some way in which it happens where you don't have a choice. And that's a good thing. It's a good thing because it takes the weight of the fear of what could happen. It takes the wind out of the sails of somebody else who could try and create havoc. It is going to create upheaval for somebody else, but that's none of your business, nor is it any of your concern. It is not meant to be any of your concern. You're to listen and pay attention to the messages that you've been getting, the downloads, the intuitive hits, the synchronicities. You're meant to move towards a place and a space within your life that is more blessed. And you're meant to follow that raw desire, those instincts. You're meant to be unencumbered and free. This is going to free you from the ties that bind, from the restraint. And again, I feel like for whoever this is for, it is a mixture of both you and them. Your fears give more leverage to their capacity. When you become fearless because you have no other choice but to move forward, it's as if the obstacles that they could possibly throw in your way are removed. It happens in such a way. It just happens in such a way where I honestly feel like this person would be a fucking piece of shit asshole if they tried to stand in your way. Like if they tried to be like, if they tried to create any more whatever, they would look like the asshole. It takes the wind out of their sails and you can move forward. I feel like a liberation in just telling somebody I have to do this, like just choosing it, just making the decision, and it's like, I mean, you've held back from speaking this, from being honest. We did have a card yesterday where it was like, speak your truth, and it's like there's something where I feel like the recuperation is. I feel like a lot of this has put so much tension and stress on you. The fear of what could happen if you took this new step. The fear of, like, I don't know what I'm getting for somebody. It's like, it was always the fear of moving. Like you felt like you needed something to help you initiate that. So you'd have a good excuse. And so you never just like I get, it feels like somebody like couldn't just go, oh, I'm leaving because I want to do X, Y, and Z. You felt like, well, I won't have support. I won't have this. Somebody will get mad at me for doing this, blah, blah, blah. But funny enough, if like you had a job for the move, they'd be like, oh, because it's like, like to take this dream away, this opportunity, something like that. It's almost like they can't guilt trip you into staying. They can't guilt trip you into, oh, look what you're doing to me, because it's kind of like you've been in the Five of Pentacles. You want me to not have a job after, you want me to continue to not have a job just for your sake? It's almost like there's a level of support that's put in behind you. Forces of nature favored you. Or maybe I wanted to move all along, but I was afraid that somebody else would try to create chaos. But then like my house implodes because of some natural disaster and I don't have a choice. And there's no options, good options here. So I need to go where there are good options. And somebody can't be like, no, you got to stick around here. And you got to, it's like, I'm sorry, what? Like maybe had it been just you saying, I'm going to do this, somebody would have been poo-pooing all over it. But when you are, I don't know why I'm getting like a parent who wouldn't want you to go somewhere, wouldn't want you to leave, but because your situation forces you out of where you're at, you have no choice but to, and so it forces them to support you. I don't know why I'm getting that. Like they're gonna be like, okay, like I don't know, like because they would be an asshole if they got in the way. That's really what it boils down to. They would look like the asshole. And maybe it puts them in a position of like they can't blame you for what you're doing. I don't know why it feels that way. That's for somebody. Like I can't blame you because that's some pretty shitty like you don't have a choice. Like, you know what I mean? Like you don't have a choice. So, and so they don't throw the roadblocks up. I don't know. It just feels that way. So either way, it's still going to feel, no matter how good it's set up, it's still going to be a bit of an upheaval. It really still will. But upheavals don't have to be bad. And I think that you get to experience for once in your fucking life, things going, whoa, a whirlwind of something. And I feel like my whole world is changing because of whatever this is. And it being a beautiful experience and not necessarily like you're so afraid of change because of the type of change you've experienced in your life always being a negative upheaval, that you have been like pushing on the brakes. And they're like, you get to experience your whole world, woo, in a beautiful chain reaction way. And there's something like I think this recuperation is you get to heal from these old experiences of negative upheavals in your life, where everything is up in the air and nothing's really known. Like that can be a beautiful thing. That can be fun. That can be exciting. Just like for my son, if he were to move to New York, so much, everything would change, but that can be beautiful and exciting. And all you've ever known is when shit like that happens, it goes wrong and it's bad. And then the weight is always put on your shoulders to figure the fuck out and manage it for everybody else. And it becomes a burden and it eats away at you. And you can't handle that anymore. So you hide from taking command. I'm tired of being the one in the leadership role. I'm tired of always trying and things blowing up. I'm tired of, like, and it's like, so you have like this wound about it. And that might be why you're not going after what is right and true for you, because I think you're meant to have this experience to teach you at a deep cellular level that things can happen a different way, to show the ego that what it has experienced is not always how it's going to be, so that you feel more comfortable doing this in the future, being in the flow. You pump the brakes of being in the flow because of your past experiences. Okay. We got there eventually. Jesus, good God. All right. Well, I hope this finds whoever it is meant for. I hope everybody has a fantastic and wonderful day, and I will see you all later this week. Oh, good Lord.